everyone, welcome back to Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. My name is Stacy. You are here for part 2 of the Craft-A-Palooza Tumbling Tower Blocks edition, where we are making 20 Christmas tree ornaments from one 72 count package of the Tumbling Tower Blocks from the Dollar Tree, plus a handful of other supplies. So let's get crafting and finish these up. Part 1 showed you all the prep work, and part 2 will show you how to make them pretty. While all those blocks are drying for the glue, I thought I would show you how I'm going to finish up these little snowmen that we did at the very beginning. Their dots and their noses have dried, so I can move on to the next thing. So I have some wooden, like, coffee stir sticks. You can get them, where did I get them? I think I got them at Staples in the, like, break room supply stuff. Anyway, I just cut them to be the size I needed to make a little hat. They are 1 inch wide. Okay, so I'm going to put them across here and paint them black so that they can be a little hat on my snowman guy. So I'm using a small brush and I'm going to paint the top part of my snowman block all the way around. And I'm going to paint it black so that I can make it into a hat. Alright. You're going to make sure that you get your edges of your stir stick. For my painting drop cloth here, I am using the backer page to a set of window cling stickers. I use those at Christmas time a lot in ornaments and decoupage Levanta things, and I always save the backer papers because they're waxy and plastic coated, and they work really well for painting little pieces like this. And I always keep a jar of water, warm soapy water, on my desk so that I can just throw my brushes that are dirty into that. Alright, now these need to dry again. Once everything is dry, we'll come back. Alright, let's start making these cute. So I have this set that I painted into snowmen, and I've got some thin 1/4 inch ribbon, and I'm going to tie this 1/4 inch ribbon on as a scarf on all 3 of my snowmen. You're going to want it tied off kind of to the side. And I'm just tying a knot. Okay. And then pull it to the side and cut it at an angle so that it doesn't fray. Always leave the knotted side a little bit long until I'm done assembling, and then I will adjust it. And once I see what it looks like. So that's their scarves. Now I need to do their hats. So I have the 3 little pieces of coffee stir stick that I painted black, and I've got my glue gun heating up, and I'm going to dab just a little glue. If you have a fine point glue gun, now is a good time to get it out. Okay, so I have a little bit of hot glue there, and I'm gluing the hat on. And you do not have to make the hat completely straight. Wow, that glue went a little crazy. May have to end up touching that one up. Okay. Alright, I'm going to put a little dot of glue under the ribbon in the back, just to keep it from sliding around. Okay. The white Waverly chalk paint and my super sharp skewer. And I'm just using it like it's a pen. And just putting a little line and just a little highlight mark in the eyes so that they get a little personality. And I just kind of make like a C-shaped line and then a dot. Okay, and that makes him just look super cute. Then you're going to take and you're going to glue these as a trio. So I'm going to center one in the middle here. Okay, so hot glue, you could use wood glue, but I'm going to go ahead and use hot glue. This is turning brown. It's actually, I believe, hot wood glue if I remember correctly. So he's going to go on there. And then this guy is going to get some glue right back here. And he's going to go on here. And then this guy is going to get some glue right back here. And he is going to go right here. And I have a little Christmas tree or Christmas snowman family. Now, you can put a sticker in there, you can put some moss in there. What I'm going to do right there is label it. I probably should have done it before I glued the last guy on. 2021. Okay, so my snowmen have been all glued together and they're just a cute little trio there. I went ahead and put an eye hook into the top of the center snowman, and the way I did that is I just took a push pin and pushed it in to make a little hole, and then I just screwed the eye hook in. And now I've got a piece of ribbon that's the same as what I used for the scarves, and I folded it in half and tied a knot in the end to make a loop. Then I'm going to take the loopy end and feed it through the eye hook. And once it's through, I'm going to put my thumb through the loop and open it up and feed the knotted end through the loop and pull it tight. Now this will bring a loop down that'll go over the eye hook and cover it up. And then you have a hanger that matches your ornament. So that's one ornament completely done. Next up, I grabbed my two single ones, the red and the white, and I want to put a word on them. And there's several ways you can do it. If you have a vinyl cutting machine, that's a great way to do it, but I didn't want to mess with dragging that out this morning. So what I did is I grabbed a couple of options that might work for you. I grabbed some stickers. I also have these rub-ons. I think they might be a little too big. Oh, it'll work. So this one says, I've got peace, joy, and Noel. I don't know how well the joy will show up. Oh, and it's got love on it too, because of it being silver. Then I have these Mambi chips from Michaels, and all of these little words would work really well. And you might have to decoupage those on or glue them on a little bit. And then there's also these sticker words in the back. Those would work great. And then another set of stickers also from Michaels, where these would work. Okay. So use what you have. If you have a rubber stamp that has a sentiment on it that would fit there, perfect. Use that. So this is a set of stamps from Michaels. My daughter works at Michael's, so I get a lot of my things from Michael's. Here's another one that says Dashing Through the Snow, but that one's way too long for one of these Jingle blocks. I'm going to put Jingle All the Way on my acrylic block. I'm going to be using Stays On ink in black. This is the most permanent ink I've ever come across, and that's why I like to use it on so many different things, because it stays put. Alright, I'm going to have it right from the top to the bottom. Oh, it's just barely going to fit. I'm going to put it crosswise, maybe. So now I've got that saying Jingle All the Way. Okay, so that's one option. And then I'm going to do the rub-on option for this one. Now, one thing I like to do when I've got a whole package of rub-ons like this, I just cut out, I leave the whole thing in the package, and I just cut out the piece that I want. I'm hoping that Dollar Tree will get some Christmas rub-ons in, like they got Halloween ones in. Those Halloween ones were sure nice and fall. So I'm hoping for some Christmas ones. Alright, so you peel the packaging off. Position your word on your block. And then you use a popsicle stick to rub it on. You have to push pretty hard with these rub-ons. You want them to stick really well. I do find that, oh, this isn't a regular popsicle stick. I do find that chalk paint is one of the harder options as far as getting a rub-on to stick, because it's not as smooth. So if you're having any troubles with your rub-on sticking to chalk paint, just put a coat of Mod Podge over the paint and then put your rub-on down. Okay, now I'm going to slowly peel this up. Tiny little bit at a time, and then if it's not sticking, I can easily put the plastic back down and rub it a little harder. Okay, that came off. Then I always rub it with my finger after I pull off the plastic. And there's Joy. Okay. Alright, now these little guys need a hanger. So I've got some red and white baker's twine that I'm going to use. I'm going to start with the Jingle All the Way, and because it says Jingle All the Way, it needs a jingle bell. I'm going to cut rather a large piece off just so I have enough to work with. And I'm going to feed that through the eye hook at the top. Oops. And I want the jingle bell to be on the front side of the ornament. And this is just a little copper jingle bell I've had in my stash. I'm going to feed that down clear to the bottom, and I'm just going to tie a knot. Okay, so now I've got a jingle bell on there. And then I want to put a couple of colored beads. Now I've had these painted up for a while, and I just have tossed them into a bag. The best way that I have found to paint wooden beads is to do it just like I did the staining of the blocks at the beginning of this video. And just put some paint in a baggie with some water and mush them around. and then lay them out to dry. So I'm going to take a little bit of glue, and it can be any kind of liquid glue. I just happen to have my wood glue handy here. Just going to put a drop on my finger, and I've cut the ends of my string to be the same length, and then I'm just going to roll them in this glue. What this is going to do is make it easier to thread through the beads, and it kind of makes it a little harder on the end, kind of like a shoestring would be, but you're not adding any bulk by adding tape. You just have this little drop of glue in there, and you can twist it till it's at a point so that it'll slide through, and it just makes life easier. You do have to wait till it dries before you try to slide it through, or it'll stick. So now I can thread on a red bead and a white bead. Maybe one more red. Okay, and that's where I'm going to leave it. So I'm going to tie a knot up here. And I'm going to double knot this just to make sure that the beads aren't going to be able to slide off. So just make sure you slide your knot on top of the other knot, and then trim it away. Okay, there's our second ornament completed with a hanger. Jingle all the way. Okay, and then for the joy, I'm just going to cut off a piece of this baker's twine and fold it in half and feed the loopy end through the eye hook. Feed it in from the front. That way the loop part will nest down over the top of the eye hook and kind of help camouflage it a little bit. Okay, so now I've got it just hanging on the string, and then I'm going to cut my ends to be even, and I'm going to add a little drop of glue. So I've got a bead that has a really big hole. This came from a bead assortment that I got at Walmart. Came in a little tub. Now this one's big enough that it can kind of ease down over the top of that eye hook, and I like that. Then I'm going to put a red bead on. These red beads I think I bought already stained. I think I got them on clearance at Michael's, and they were a garland that I broke apart. And I've got another one of these beehive looking ones. And I think that's what we're going to go with right there. So then I'm going to double knot again up at the top, so that since this has a pretty big hole on it, I don't want that to be able to slide over the knot. So make a good size knot up there. One more knot, I think, will do the job. So this one actually took a triple knot because of the size of the bead. Okay, trim off your excess, and there's another ornament completed. Now I think I kind of like these better with smaller, tinier beads, in which case you'd have to use a finer twine or jute to do that. The snowman. Okay, so I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to come to the end of my ribbon, and I'm going to trim as close as I can to the bottom of the picture above, and as close as I can to the top of the picture below. Okay, you might waste a little bit of ribbon doing this. It's not a big deal. So now I have a nice big piece of ribbon with an adorable snowman on it. And remember the two black pieces we glued together? I went ahead and put eyes on there, and these are going to get glued on to the top and bottom to make this like a scroll. So definitely look at the nicer side of your block. That's what you want to the front. I'm just going to put some hot glue right along the edge of my ribbon, and then I'm going to center my block. Okay. Once it cools a second, you can kind of push it down into the still warm glue. Push that down. And then we're going to do the same on the bottom. This is so quick and easy, and it really just looks adorable. Push that down. Push it into the glue. And then you can choose to leave it as is, or you could use a popsicle stick to glue over the top, or another piece of ribbon, or you can even sandwich it between another set of blocks. But in my opinion, that makes that a little bit too heavy if you go 2 blocks full. So I'm going to leave it as is. Because I don't think it's going to ravel. I think it looks decent on the back. And a piece of buffalo check ribbon across there would look nice. And also you could use a popsicle stick just to finish it off, but you'd want to have these painted black. Alright, then you need some kind of a hanger, and I'm going to go grab that. Okay, I have some dollar store black check ribbon. I'm just kind of rolling it so that I can get it through the eye hook. And this is just going to get a knot tied in the end. Not the most beautiful, but I'm going to angle that. Okay, then I'm going to roll the other end so that I can feed it through. And then I have to decide how long I want the ribbon. I would have preferred, I think, some flat, just plain black ribbon, but I'm out. So this might get changed up later, but I need to get some thin little buffalo check, like that red check would be really good for this. All right. That was quick and easy peasy, and that is an adorable little ornament. If you want to embellish it some more, you could tie a little bow and put there where the seam of the blocks is. I like the buffalo check because he's got buffalo check on his scarf. So just tie a bow and keep messing with the loops until you get them even. Sometimes people don't think about making their loops even, and then it just kind of throws off the look of the finished product. And sometimes it's hard when you have a tiny little bow to make. You can tie it like over the tines of a fork to help you make them even. I don't usually do that, but if you're a beginner crafter, that's an excellent way to start. So I'm folding it in half and cutting a little fishtail on the ends. And then I can stick a little bow right there. Just a little dot of glue. Pull my bow tails down a little and stick it on. Okay. I think that's cute. Alright, so far we have completed 4 ornaments now. Alright. Okay, let's do our little snowman hat next. So I went ahead and put an eye hook in, and I did it off to the side because I wanted the hat to kind of hang at an angle. And then I got some ribbon, and you can use whatever ribbon you want to use on this. I just wanted it, this is kind of a burlappy ribbon, but it has some gold woven into it. So that's what I'm choosing to use. There's some really nice burlap trims at the Dollar Tree that would also work nicely for this. But I got a ton of this in the clearance stuff from Michael's after Christmas last year in the grab bags. So that's what I'm going to go with. So I'm going to, this is where I like the distress. Okay, I like to see the distress on the brim of the hat. Just kind of separates it out. So what I'm going to do is just a thin line of glue around the top here. And I'm going to center my ribbon on it and press it in to the glue. Then I'm going to come around to the back, and I'm going to end up trimming this up. And when I trim ribbon, I like to trim it on a 45 so that it can be matched up with the other end of the ribbon. So I'm going to glue one end down, cut at a 45-degree angle, and then I'm going to come here, and I'm using the 45-degree angle trim of the ribbon. It's got that gold thread going through it at an angle, so I'm using that as my guide for cutting. And then, oh, I cut on the wrong side of that one. And then you can match it up so much easier when it's at a 45 and you don't have this big bulky seam, and it just looks a lot nicer. So glue, and then pull that ribbon in and just rub it together. I like the back sides of my ornaments to look nice too, because sometimes on the tree the ornament will rotate a little bit. So now I've got my hat with a little brim on it, and now we want to decorate it. So we have a couple choices. I have some different greenery pieces that have come from picks and things that I have. Most of it came from either Walmart or Michael's. That's where I buy most of my greenery stuff. Sometimes I get it at the Dollar Tree, but Michael's gets some pretty good sales going, and I also always stock up on it after Christmas with whatever's left. Okay, so I have this now, and I can use like a snowflake sticker to go on there. If you don't want to mess with fake greenery, you can use a sticker, also from Michael's, and just glue that on there. And I kind of think that's where I want to go with it. It's just one of these three-dimensional stickers. I like the look of this, but it's just so big and chunky on this little hat that I think it would be too much. So I'm just going to go with this little holly sprig that's a sticker, and I'm going to go ahead and put hot glue on there to glue it down, and then stick that on my hat there. And how cute is that little snowman hat? And on this one, I'm just going to choose to tie it with jute. And I just have some jute bundles from some craft kits I had bought that I used for something other than what they were supposed to be. So I'm going to use these little bundles up. Maybe. Okay, I'm just going to cut off a piece, fold it in half, feed it through. Sorry. I like to feed it through from the front. It just makes a nicer look, in my opinion. So I feed it through, and then I pull the knot down, and I let the knot go around the eye hook, and then I just tie a knot up in the top of the jute and trim my ends. Voila, there's another ornament finished, and this is going to look so cute. Can you imagine having a small little mini tree done with these little snowman hats and some snowmen? That would be really cute. Before I showed you how to dot on the eyes with paint, you can also use a Sharpie marker, which is what I'm going to show you on this one. So I just have a big Sharpie marker, and I'm going to add eyes, and I like to do my eyes as ovals, and I would like for this guy to be looking up, so I'm going to go ahead and put my little smiley face on there. And one of these little teardrops that was painted orange. Just going to put a dot of hot glue on the back of it and stick it on there. Okay. Snowman faces don't have to be big and elaborate. They're made by children using rocks. So don't worry about them so much. Just go with what you got. Then we need some ribbon for a scarf, and apparently I didn't grab that. Be right back. Okay, instead of ribbon, I decided to grab this lacy yarn stuff I found at the Dollar Tree. If you open it up, it looks like that, but when it's all let go, it looks like a scarf kind of. And I'm going to tie my scarf on this side. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of my snowman and attach the yarn to that, and I'm going to let it go ahead and hang over the edge a little. And then I'm going to need a couple of dots of glue. Not too much glue on the front because you don't want it to show, but it needs to stay in place. And then, oh, that hardened up too fast. And then I'm just going to tie a knot off to the side. And I'm going to put a little glue under where the knot is going, just to help hold it on. And then as you tie the knot, it'll work its way down into the glue. Okay. And then just kind of fuss with it a little bit until it gets angled the way you want it to be. And then I'm going to put a couple of dots of glue. If you just have plain ribbon, use that. That will absolutely work. I just like the way yarn looks for a scarf on a snowman. Okay, so there's that guy. And I'm just going to go ahead and use jute to tie him on a hanger as well. I'm going to attempt, and I don't know if this is going to work, to just get a couple of the strings off of this. Might work. Put that on there. Some glue on the back. Pull that in. Just adding touches of glue. I don't need a ton of it to accomplish this task. It's not that heavy of a string or a ribbon. Push it down into the glue, and you've got the color coming up to the top of the hat. And then you can, I think I'm just going to add in one of these little snowflake stickers. And put a little drop of glue right there. I always like to reinforce stickers with glue because when you're hanging them on an ornament, you never know if the dust and whatnot from the tree is going to mess them up. Okay, there's another ornament done. Alright, because I seem to have an affinity for snowmen, I'm going to stamp a couple of snowman images onto 2 pieces of burlap ribbon that I have cut out. Now make sure you're using StazOn ink. It's the best I have found for this kind of a project. It doesn't bleed as much as some of the others, and a lot of the others, if they get damp at all, they'll bleed and they will not stay put. So make sure you ink up this stamp really well. Make sure before you go to take it to the ribbon that you have every little detail highlighted, especially the face. And then position your ribbon. And I always cut the ribbon bigger than I need it to be, because then after I stamp, push it down. Try not to rock too much, but do push down hard and give it a second to soak into the burlap. Anyway, cut the ribbon bigger than you think you need it so that you have the ability to trim it and cut it how you want. Okay, so that's how that stamp is going to look. And I think that just looks kind of cool on there. Let it sit for a little bit to just have a few minutes to cure before you mess with it anymore. And I'm making a set of 2, and they're coming off of the same stamp set, so they will coordinate. And again, lots and lots of ink. Okay, and that's what that one looks like. I'm going to be using the brown pieces that I put 2 and 2, and I went ahead and put the eye hooks on it. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and see how big I want this to be. And because I'm leaving them really rustic, I think I want it to be a little shorter onto the end. So I'm going to take a pencil and I'm just going to mark on the outside so that I trim it away at the right spot. Okay, and I'm going to do that on both pieces, and I'm going to trim just inside of that pencil mark so that the pencil mark doesn't show at all. And I could tell you the exact measurement of this is 4 inches, but you will need to trim it according to whatever size stamp that you have. You know, if you want it to be bigger or smaller. If you have skinnier ribbon that you could stamp onto with a smaller stamp, maybe you get away with just 1 of the tumbling tower blocks. Also, you could use craft sticks, like a popsicle stick down here, and make it a little smaller. That's totally up to you. Alright, so make sure you've got one with the eye hooks on it for the top, and figure out which side looks the nicest, because that's going to be your front. And then you're going to put the glue across the top of your ribbon, and then you're going to center that and push it down onto your ribbon. Like here's an orange fine tip Sharpie, and it's going to allow me to color the snowman nose. Okay, so you can totally color in and be perfectly fine. Here's a blue one. Color. I'm not coloring in perfectly, just getting a little color on there. Well, the rest of my Sharpie's handy, but see how he looks just colorized a little bit? And that just brightens it up and brings it home. Alright, so I'm going to tie my jute on just like I did the other one. That one. So there's the colorized and the uncolorized. I like to have lots of red in my Christmas decorations, so my red Sharpie has wandered away, but it will be getting some red on there as well. Alright, how cute are those? Alright, this is called Just Chenille. I'm not sure if I got this at Walmart. I might have found this at the Dollar Tree. I don't know. I'm just going to cut off a piece so I'm not working with this big wad. And what I'm going to do is glue it around the hat brim, and that's going to make it look like a fuzzy Santa. So I'm going to carefully add some hot glue right along the bottom of the red block. And I don't want a ton. If you have a fine point glue gun, use it. Okay. And then I'm just going to stretch it to go around the back. Pull it into have a popsicle stick handy or something, finger protectors, something to protect your fingers. You don't want to get burnt by this glue. Okay, then just kind of smush the ends of your yarn into the glue so that it doesn't unravel on you. If you can't find these little wooden buttons, you can totally use just like a wooden circle, which you can get from the wood pile at Hobby Lobby. I have seen them from time to time at the Dollar Tree, but not always. Okay, this button is going to get glued on half on the flesh part and half on the white part, so that it looks like it's going down into his beard. And then you're going to use your Sharpie to make nice round little eyes. Now when I'm making this, I'm trying not to color completely into the center so it has a little sparkle in it. You know, a little twinkle in his eye. Okay, he's looking cute. Santa Claus would have holly on his hat. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the hat and stick the holly on. I think that just kind of brightens him up a little bit. And then my hanger, there we go, there's another ornament finished. Now let's do the snowman guy. A little bit of glue along the edge. I'm going to cut this at a 45-degree angle, like I did the last time I used that ribbon. Glue along the edge. Okay. And then I'm going to figure out where I need to cut it. Voila. Okay, there's our glitzy little snowman brim. Then we're going to glue on a nose. I'm not going to put a mouth on this guy, just a nose. And then using my Sharpie, but I could totally use, oops, wrong end. I could totally use a paintbrush. Drawing my two little ovals for his eyes, leaving a little dot of white open in the center. And then he needs some scarf. I've got a piece of this yarn from the Dollar Tree. I thought this would make a cute scarf. So just going to tack it around there at the bottom. So first we put glue on the bottom. Make sure you leave yourself plenty of yarn to work with. Push it in. Then you're going to have glue across the back. Bring it around and push it in. And then you have to tie it on the end, on the side. Kind of try to do a square knot if you can. It'll lay nicer in the end of it. And then when I cut this, I like to cut halfway between the knots of the mop fibers, and it gives you this little tassel-y poof on the end. How cute is that? All right. This is where it gets a little tricky, because this is plastic and I don't want to use too much hot glue, but I also don't want just to have the sticker on there. So I'm just going to dot with glue around and center this on. I was putting it on the wrong one. Okay, so this sticker is going to go onto this one. We'll get back to this one. So this is going on here. Now I have my hooks off the side on this one. And I really want this one to have the buffalo check. Roll my buffalo check. Stick it in there. I'm going to leave kind of a tail on it and see what I can do about making it hang a little bit. I don't know if it's going to work or not. We will surely give it a try. Okay, there's one. And then this is the buffalo check ribbon from the Dollar Tree. So it's got raw edges on the side. So you got to be careful not to unravel it as you're working with it. Alright, decide how. That was odd. Oh, I see. It came out of the eye hook because the eye hook wasn't closed all the way. It was bent. Decide how tall you want your hanger to be. There's that one. There's so much you can do with stickers and stamps and rub-on transfers that you just don't limit yourself. This is the one that the word Noel is going on. So I'm going to, again, this is just a word ornament I picked up at Walmart after Christmas last year. It was a set of 3. I wanted to use the word believe, but when I was trying to get it out of the package, it broke. So we're going with Green Noel. Alright. And this one I'm just going to use a piece of jute for the hanger. Okay, there's that one. If you wanted to, you could tie a bow around these. But I think that just looks cute. This one's going to be a present. And I'm going to just go ahead and use the same ribbon that I've been using. So I'm going to put a line of glue right across the middle. And a line of glue across the middle this way. I like this ribbon because it's high quality ribbon from Michaels, and the glue doesn't like seep through it. Okay, this is way more ribbon than I need, but I just wanted to get that on there so I could see where I wanted to put my hook in, and I want to put my hook here on the side so it hangs at an angle. Okay, then I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to glue halfway. And I'm going to cut my ribbon at an angle. Now with this, it's really important that you do this angle shot, because otherwise you're going to have a ton of ribbon piling up in the middle of this ornament in the back. And I like that it has the angled gold lines in it, because that helps get the thing straight. Okay. I cut mine a little short. I cut on the wrong side. That's alright. Then we'll make it work. So that and that. I'm going to cut that one. Alright. Glue it down. Alright, so now it's just a cute little present. It needs a bow. Here's another idea in case you don't have all these wonderful stickers that I have. I picked these up this last weekend at the Dollar Tree. They're 3-dimensional tags. They have little decorations that pop up, and you could easily pop one of these little decorations off and use that in the middle. I was wanting to find some of the little teeny tiny little gift bows, but I haven't been able to find those yet this year. So there's lots of different options. But what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to snip a little tiny piece of this dusty colored greenery. I'm going to stick it right in the middle. And then I have these wonderful little candy canes. And I think one of these is going to work nicely to glue right on top of there. So once again, I'm going to add a little bit of glue because I don't want to rely just on the adhesive of the sticker, because it will often fail you. Okay, and how cute is that for a little present? And because I have this little goof up on the back side, and just because it's nice to have your ornaments look pretty on both sides, I'm going to go ahead and cover up my little oopsie oops with some greenery here. Kind of camouflage it a little bit. And I used a red bow candy cane on that side, so I'm going to use a green bow candy cane on this side. Little spice up variety there. And put a little glue down. And that just really helps to hide my oops. Okay, so now I put a hanger on it. I have a cute little present on both sides. And the hanger, I'm just going to go ahead and use jute. I have some plain gold ribbon somewhere that's softer that would make a nice loop for that, so I might change it out later when I find them. Unpacking my craft room here, so not everything is available. Oh, whoops. Gotta tie the knot first. I just think anytime you have an opportunity to make both sides of your ornament look adorable, do it. It's worth it. Back to this one where we have the two stained blocks and a white one. So I'm going to have to be really careful with this because it says let it snow, 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 snow. And I want it to say let it snow. So I'm going to have to ink up just the word let it. And then very carefully stamp that on there. And then I got to ink up just the word snow. And stamp it on there very carefully. So I've got let it snow. Not perfect, but it'll do. This one's easy peasy. We are going to tie a jute hanger on it. Then I'm going to take a couple of little pieces of my dusty colored sprig here. And I'm going to glue it to the top. And it goes. And then cute little snowflake stickers. This creamy white one right in the middle. There you go. Could even put another little sticker down here on the corner if I wanted to, but I'm going to keep it simple. Okay, for this next one, it's going to be a reindeer. I kind of got a little messy with the glue, so we're gonna try to make it work here. You're going to need to make a big red nose like for Rudolph. So I'm going to shake my paint so I can get some into the lid because it's just easier to use when you just need a little bit when there's some in the lid for you to dip into. Okay, so you're going to need something kind of round. If you want to just like stamp it, if you don't trust yourself to paint it. So right in the middle, I'm going to just paint an oval. If you aren't comfortable with painting this oval, use a piece of sponge and cut it into the shape of an oval and just stamp it on. That would totally work. And I'm just gonna make it kind of thick. I'm gonna let it be a little bit textured, and I'm not looking for perfection. You could also use another one of those button noses like we did on Santa Claus. That would totally work. I only had one of those. I don't know where the rest of them are, so yeah. Then we need some eyes on Mr. Rudolph. So I'm just going to use the back of a paintbrush. You can, again, use your Sharpie marker on this. And you want ovals. And I'm going to make them a little bit chunky, and that's okay. Actually, I think I'm going to go circles. I changed my mind in the middle of the game. I am not liking the way those are turning out. So, happy accident time, right? You would be surprised how many times I don't like the way a face turns out, and I just kind of wipe it off. Blend it in. Get it a little bit wet with some water and just blend it. Not a big deal. Not a big deal unless you make it one. I'm going back to my Sharpie marker on that. Today my ovals and circles are just not coming out the way I want them to. And now my Sharpie's not wanting to work because it's still a little damp. Alright, so here's what I've got. Okay, 2 oval black dots and a big oval red dot. And we're going to do the last 5 ornaments. And they are going to be my farmhouse baby animals. You pick whatever stamps you have in your stash that you like, because whatever goes with your style. Little piggy's gonna fit on there. And I am going to stamp him onto both sides. Ink it up. Now this is textured, so it may not stamp perfectly, and that hopefully will add to the rustic charm. It's not perfect, but it'll do. As well. Oh, I hope I turned that the right way. I'm going to try to I'm wondering if, yeah, see, that one didn't stamp well at all. I'm going to attempt, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to attempt to line this up. Lining it back up is really hard. And then push down in the middle, because the blocks aren't level. And so I'm just trying to get the spots that didn't touch. Ooh, that's a black piggy. That one didn't stamp so well, but you get the idea of what I'm going for here. And I want to do a bunny. Okay, I'm back and everything has dried and is ready to go on to the next step. I went ahead and took these stamped ornaments and put an eye hook in the top, just poked the hole like I did on the other ones with a push pin, and then just screwed that little eye hook in. And now I'm going to take my jute, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ornaments, so I'm just going to cut off 5 pieces of jute. So I just tied a knot in the jute and then just ran it through and letting it come around the eye hook. And I think I'm just going to leave these simple and plain like that. I'm not going to put a bow on them. If I did do a bow, I would probably do a tiny little black and white buffalo check bow, because I think that would be cute. But I'm wanting some really simple basic ornaments. I want this tree to look, this Christmas tree that I'm working on, to be really rustic. So that's what I'm going to do. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you the tree decorated because, well, once I get it decorated, maybe I'll do a Christmas tree video. Alright, so I have 5 more ornaments, simple, basic, and easy, and they are done. I'm going to have, I think, 20 or 22 ornaments by the time we're done. Okay, time for the last one, the reindeer. So I took my white galaxy marker. You can also use like a slick marker, something that's opaque and white, and I put a little face on him. If you remember, I painted the eyes and the nose, and then I let it dry, and then I just hit with a little, like half of a C on his nose for a light reflection, and the same thing in his eyes, and then put a little dot. And then I just drew like where the split of his nose would be into his mouth, and 4 little freckle spots on the side of his cheek. So that one's simple and easy. Next, we have to make him some ears, and I just have a little piece of scrap felt. This is really firm felt. It's from Arteza. That's where I get all of my felt from. And I'm going to just fold it in half and freehand an ear shape, kind of just a little teardrop. If you don't have felt on hand, in the past I have also used petals from a flower. I made unicorn ears out of flower petals before, and that works. I'm just going to take my slick writer, which is not going to write on this felt, so there you go. Let's see if my pink Sharpie will. I'm just trying to make the center of the ear. I only have one color of brown, otherwise I would layer up a dark brown and a light brown to make my ear, but I don't have that. So when I was looking through my felt collection, I realized I need to order some more brown. Alright, so I just put a little pink, I don't even know if you can see that. It's not going to focus in. There's a little pink highlight in there. You can kind of see it. And we're going to take the hot glue gun and glue that onto the side of his head. And we're also going to give him some little hair. Alright, so I'm going to pinch this together, and it's going to go up here on the top. So a little drop of glue up there. We also have to make him some antlers. So I'm just kind of pinching it and gluing it on there. I kind of want it to come to the side just a little bit. So I'm kind of gluing him, pinching it together and trying to hold it so it glues itself to the side a little, and pushing it back open. Okay, so I'm kind of trying just to get it to come off there, but now I've got glue all over it. Hate it when that happens. That on there, put a little dab of glue on top of the felt, and just kind of, don't worry if your glue shows, because you're going to cover it with his little hair that we're going to make here in a minute. Just kind of push it and pinch it until it angles out the way you want it to. Okay, now we got to make him some antlers. And for that, we're going to use some pipe cleaners, which I've run away for a moment, so let me go grab some more. Okay, for the pipe cleaners, you can do it a couple of different ways for his antlers. Take a pencil and just spiral it around. You can do that and just have an antler that looks like that. Or you can cut off a little piece and then 2 tiny little pieces. Okay, so this piece is 3 inches long, and I'm folding it in half. Okay, and then these are about 1 inch And I'm just going to kind of bend them around and make little knobs on these longer ones. Okay, so I have these little antlers right here, and that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to squeeze this together, and I'm going to bend up the end of it so that it looks like that, so that I have something to glue. Okay, so I just, where I folded it before to make the V, I just bent up the point. That will give me something to glue to onto my little critter here. You can make them individually and glue each one on, or you can make them in a set like this and glue them on just in one piece. I like to make them in one piece if I can, because that way it looks like they're coming out of the center of his head a little better. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. Like I said, don't worry about this glue that's showing. Alright, now I'm a pack rat, and anytime that I have a little end of jute or nautical rope or whatever, I don't throw it away, I save it, and it's for projects like this. So this piece is about 2 inches long, and I'm just letting it be frayed, and I'm going to kind of fold it into the middle and let it just be messy. Okay, you might need to put some finger protection on for this process, and I'm just going to push it down. I put some glue in the fold and I'm pushing it down, and then just trying to keep all the little pieces together, and then I'm just going to rough it up. Okay, so now I've just got this poof of what will become a reindeer hair here. I'm going to split my antlers apart, glue in the reindeer hair onto the front. So I'm kind of just eyeballing where I want it to hit, and I'm going to put a little dot of glue here on the front and a pretty good glop in between my antlers there. Then my antlers are going to come up and come around that a little bit. Okay, so glue that mess of hair on there. And the reason I folded it back was because I wanted a finished edge. Now, while it's still soft and warm, I'm going to arrange my little antlers where I want them, so they don't get glued down into the wrong spot. And I'm rubbing off any extra glue that I can off of the back. And then I'm going to give him a little haircut if he needs it. If he doesn't, that's fine too. And I have this little scruffy haired little reindeer going on here. Okay, now we need to adjust what's happening down here. And you can decide, do you want him to be like a country reindeer? Do you want him to have, be like Santa's reindeer? I am thinking he needs a bell. And I am also thinking I want to use this red buffalo check that I have. So I'm going to cut myself off a pretty good sized piece. And I'm going to put a little dot of glue on the back, about 1/2 inch up from the bottom. And I'm going to glue down my ribbon right there. Okay, then I'm going to bring this around and I'm going to tie it in the front. And I'm going to put a little dot of glue, just a little one, under where that tie is happening, so that it helps to hold it in place. And then I'm going to pull my knot tight into that glue. Okay. Now I want him to have a jingle bell, so this is where I'm going to feed the jingle bell onto the ribbon. And I'm going to tie a bow. I kind of want the jingle bell to hang down a little bit. I don't know if that's going to work. And I'm just going to tie a little bow. I always go with making my bow loops really big, and then I pull them back, because that will give you a tighter knot and help keep it from coming untied later. Okay, so then make sure your bow loops are straight and not twisted. Make sure your bow loops are the same size. I feel so sad when I see bow loops that don't match. It's like, come on, you spent all that time on that beautiful project and you didn't take the time to make sure your bow was even. Alright, I'm not liking how that's laying, so I'm going to put a little dot of glue back behind my bow, and I'm going to lift it up back onto that knot, because it just, with the bell on there, it didn't sit exactly where I wanted it to, so I'm going to force it to sit where I want it to with a little bit of glue. Okay, scrape off any extra glue that's not where it needs to be. And then you have to decide how long you want your ribbon tails to be. I don't want mine hanging too far past the bottom of the ornament, so I'm just going to cut it there. But he has to have a bell. He's Santa's reindeer. It has to have a bell in my little Christmas world. Alright, I'm going to attempt to put a eye hook on here. Where's my push pin? I just buy these little eye hooks in bulk and then we put them in there. Alright, I'm going to try to go through, I don't know if I can, through the top of his hair, pushing into the wood. That's like pre-drilling the hole with the push pin, and then I'm going to see if we can screw that in. I don't know. I've never tried to screw an eye hook through a big wad of jute like that before. So let's see if it grabs into the wood without splitting it. The splitting the wood is what I'm worried about. Okay, that seems to be grabbing pretty well. Alright, now you have a choice. Do you use red ribbon to match his ribbon for your hanger, or do you use jute? And I'm thinking I want to use jute so that it blends in with his little tuft of hair here. I'm just loving this guy. He's so cute. Alright, where's my jute? I'm going to cut myself a piece of jute. Jute twine, jute string. It's all the same thing. Comes in all different thicknesses. You can get it at Dollar Tree, or at least you used to be able to. I haven't bought any in a while because I stocked up on it a while back. And I haven't been doing a lot of crafting, so. Alright, gonna run that loop through there and through there. I'm going with the plain hanger because there's a lot going on here, and I want the cuteness of the reindeer to be the main focus. I'm loving this guy. I'm going to make some more of these ones, I think, and sell them in my booth. Alright, there's the Rudolph ornament. Alright, that concludes all of the jute, or all of the Jingle Block ornaments that I have out of one 72 count pack of ornaments. So let me get them all set up so you can see them in one shot, and I will be back. Alright guys, there you have it. It's a little cluttered and crazy there, but there's 19 ornaments, all made out of one 72 count package of the dollar store Jenga blocks. Okay, the tumbling tower blocks. 19 ornaments out of basically $1 and a handful of other supplies that I had laying around my craft room. That's a pretty good deal. If I sold each one of these, I could probably sell them for anywhere from probably $2 for these guys up to maybe even $5 for some of these ribbon ones. Probably maybe $4. This one, probably $5. So that's a great increase on, or profit on investment ratio. I'm not sure exactly which one is my favorite. I'm loving this little Santa Claus guy though, and I'm loving this snowman and this reindeer. I think those are my 3 favorite, which surprises me because I'm not usually a Santa Claus kind of person, but I'm really liking those. And I like the simplicity of these little, just simple tag-like ones. These would be adorable tied on a present as a gift. So let me know what you're thinking. Do you like this idea? Do you like the fact that I did 20 different projects all in one video, or is it too long? This is going to end up being like 4 hours worth of footage that I'm going to edit down to hopefully no more than an hour. Hopefully you'll be able to follow along with all of the steps that I'm doing. All right, guys, let me know what you're thinking and which one of these you like the best. You have 19 ornaments here out of one package of the 72 count Dollar Tree tumbling tower blocks. So for $1 for a base for 20 ornaments, that's a pretty good investment there. Not much in it. And the rest of it was just a handful of supplies that I had laying around my room, my craft room. The only thing I went out and bought was this ribbon right here. That's the only thing I bought specifically for making this video, because I saw this snowman guy and specifically thought, what can I do with that? I need to make an ornament. He's adorable. So this was the only thing I bought, and I think it was a $6 roll of ribbon, and it came from Walmart, and it was from the 2021 collection, so you should be able to get that one in your store. Everything else was purchased at the Dollar Tree over the past little while, and well, there's some ribbon in here from Michael's and some stickers from Michael's. But like this sticker, this came from Dollar Tree. Anyway, let me know what you're thinking about this project. Do you like the big video where I've done 20 different ornaments all in one video and it's rather long? Or would you prefer shorter videos with maybe 1 or 2 ornaments in it? Let me know what you're thinking and which one of these is your favorite. This has been Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time.